What's up everyone, this is Cyberknight8610, and today I wanted to make sort of a different video, something like I used to make back in the day. I used to do a lot of like discussion videos and just different things besides mainly doing openings. I've kind of become the opening channel guy for a very long time, or at least one of the opening channel guys for quite a while, and I want to start doing a little bit more variety like I used to. I wanted to talk about 7 cards that I think should get remade and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, basically remake the effects, bring them back, because we've started seeing this trend in Yu-Gi-Oh! Quite a bit, but especially seeing older monsters that really couldn't do what they should do, like Gate Guardian, or even, we have, like, Red Eyes Darkness Metal now, which was actually a card that was gonna be on this list. Basically, I want to talk about some cards that I think should get remade, upgraded, and brought back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Because they were iconic, they were cool, and maybe I just like them too. I mean, it's my opinion, so why not? Let's go on ahead and get started with that. But first off, we do have a sponsor for today's video. This video is sponsored by Into the AM. Into the AM makes some awesome clothes. I work from home, and while I'm editing videos or starting cards, I like to be comfortable. And Into the AM are a team of artists and creators who share a common vision where they see clothing as a canvas to express what drives you. Since 2012, they've been developing premium apparel that elevates self-expression and provides unparalleled comfort wherever your passions take you. They make clothes that feel as comfortable as pajamas, really. I mean, this shirt feels really good, and they sent a variety of different shirts too that you'll see me wear throughout the video. Even got a hat. I mean, that's just awesome right there, cherry on top. And they're just super comfortable. They feel great. They feel premium, like a normal, like expensive type of shirt, you know, something that I could wear going on like a date with my wife or something. Yet I can wear this and feel like I can also sleep in it because it's really soft, comfortable, it looks great, you know, all these different shirts look so great. Not only that too, they are affordable, which is really amazing. You guys know these days too, you gotta find stuff that's affordable. They had amazing deals on graphic tees that were 3 for $61.95, and also basic tees that were 3 for $52.95 as well. Not only that too, they are having a 4th of July sale that is going to start on June 27th all the way to July 8th. So yeah, check them out. Use my link. You will actually save some money too. You get 10% off site-wide and all that. And again, I really recommend these shirts. They look awesome. They feel awesome. And like I said too, you're going to see me throughout the video wearing different ones. So check them out. Link down in the description. They help support everything. All right, now back to the card list. Okay, this was actually kind of tough for me because, again, there's a lot of legacy monsters I'd like to see get upgrades, essentially, you know, and be brought back. We've seen even Zerado, which I think I'm pronouncing correctly. That's always what I have trouble with. I remember it from, you know, getting it as a game promo, and then it became part of the Starry Nights, a whole archetype based around it. So that older normal dragon made me think of Cyberknight Dragon. Cyberknight Dragon looks really cool. I mean, anyway, I remember it in the Duel. I believe it was Rex that used it and all too, and it was one of those cool dragons. So I like to see something with it. Maybe it could also actually work with dinosaurs, you know, that could also make sense. Maybe, you know, something like how we have seen dinosaurs being able to evolve, even with like Evosaurs to evolution pills and stuff. I think it'd be cool to actually see like maybe a dinosaur version of this card, and then it transforms into the dragon. You know, that could be something really interesting. That would be kind of my idea, sort of an effect. I'm not the best at coming up with like the best effects on things, but I think that would be really cool to see. And that way it ties all together with Rex. Next up, we have one of Kaiba's favorite monsters, and one that I've been really surprised we haven't seen yet, and that is Soggy the Dark Clown. That was honestly one of the creepiest cards ever. I even remember him like in Duels of Roses, like he's cackling the whole time and shooting off like that attack that almost, I forget what it's even called, but it looks like a Dragon Ball Z attack basically, you know, shooting that off. Just really interesting monster, and I always thought it was weird that Kaiba used him anyway, because he's not very powerful. We know that Kaiba always uses powerful monsters, but later on in the series when he starts using a Crush card, then it makes a little bit more sense. So I've always kind of wondered, if they remade him, would they use Crush card with him? Actually make it where maybe if he's destroyed, make him an effect monster, obviously. He gets destroyed, you get to search for one of the virus cards. Maybe his effect too could be something on the lines of, even if he's not a searcher for the Crush cards, or I'm just going to say virus cards, I guess, maybe he can count for any of them. That could be actually pretty scary, almost making a virus archetype sort of thing, or mini like theme really, and that could be really cool. And next up, well, speaking of Kaiba, this is one I've really want to see get remade, because I actually enjoyed this Yu-Gi-Oh movie, even though it didn't necessarily make sense with everything, but still, I want to talk about Blue Eye Shining Dragon. Blue Eye Shining Dragon is an iconic card, even though it's only in that movie that came out, which is Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie, I believe, for us. I don't know it was Pyramid of Light, I guess, technically. Well, anyway, I've been surprised we haven't seen a new version of this card, at least some kind of retrain, because back in the day, having to bring out a Blue Eyes Ultimate to then tribute for this was kind of a lot. And especially, too, it didn't really feel like it was worth it because Blue Eyes already had 4,500 attack. What I thought was maybe, instead of it being you tribute a Blue Eyes, maybe if you had a certain number of Blue Eyes monsters in your graveyard, then you could special summon this. I feel like that could maybe make it a little bit more even on that. You can still have the 3,000 attack, that kind of stuff. I can kind of see that. But it has its negation effect too, and that was a big thing. These days, negation effects are just dime a dozen. You know, we see them all the time. Stardust Dragon, you know, is like the main one I always think of top of my head, but there's so many negation effects these days that you need more than just, oh, I can negate one effect. And then also, to negate an effect, let's say you have to banish a Blue Eyes monster, even. I think that would be kind of interesting to see. You know, it kind of needs, I feel like, even though it's tough, you know, Konami doesn't always think of this either, where it's like, you know, I feel like we get these monsters that can negate 1,000 effects, and they're a lot easier to summon than even what I'm suggesting. So, I mean, again, I'm no card creator, so don't get me wrong on that. I'm just floating ideas. They could be dumb ideas. I'm just saying. I'm not claiming to be the best card maker over here. But I'm just, you know, throwing some ideas at you, and I want to hear back what you guys think. This is one that surprises me that we haven't seen yet, but I gotta admit, it's hard to not make it too broken either with the ideas that I have so far. So that's one I'm going to probably need some help on. Then next up, we have one of my favorite cover cards that I think really deserves a retrade. We even still see him in artworks, I feel like sometimes. Arcl Zerado. We've seen an evil form of him and everything too, but I think it's time for the good one to actually get some hype. I mean, we've seen even his other dark version. I think he's actually had 2 dark versions, which is kind of funny, really. So anyway, basically his effects were based around the Sanctuary in the Sky. I don't know if we would probably do that as much anymore. Maybe it could just be, you know, something with like having fairy monsters or something. I would still like to see somehow if they brought in the whole Warrior of Zerado, which again has also had plenty of different evil and light forms and everything, been in artworks, like the whole story about him. And I would love to see somehow him get brought into it as well. Maybe make it so whatever deck you're using him with, like whatever you're milling or banishing, he could transform into. He could go into the light version, Arcl Zerado, or you could have even a new dark version for him, where if you like banish a dark monster in Zerado, you go for the dark one. Go for a light in Zerado, go for the light one, kind of showing that, you know, which path he's chosen, sort of thing. I think that'd be kind of cool on that. Basically, though, with his effect, he had a good destruction effect if you had Sanctuary in the Sky. Maybe with this, you would have to do something a little bit different on that. I don't really have I gotta admit, a really good idea on that. Seeing something really cool for him would be amazing, and somehow bringing back that destruction effect that he has could also come in handy too. And now it's time to talk about another favorite, or at least another like personal favorite of mine, and that is Don Zalug. Don Zalug has always been one of those really cool monsters. He's still really good in GOAT format. He's had a lost art like the last year or so, but I've always been kind of surprised that we haven't really seen a retrain of him either, because we've seen Dark Scorpions in some artworks. I think maybe it's been a little bit of time. But if you want to bring back an older archetype that has like a really cool idea, like I feel like their whole like, they're kind of thieves, you know, like burglars that work together, and their whole like theme was really fun because they could do direct attacks whenever they're all together, especially, and then they could help like basically control your opponent's deck. Like you could look at the top card, you could place it to the bottom, you could, you know, basically kind of decide what your opponent is going to draw in some ways. Like you would have that info, which is interesting, and even being able to like steal and everything too. I'd like to see that come back, because if you could kind of upgrade that a little bit more, make it so they all have their direct attack things easily, and you could basically almost like when you bring out Don Zalug, I feel like he needs an effect kind of like a rescue cat, rescue rabbit sort of idea. You bring him out, instantly you get 2 Dark Scorpions, boom, on your side of the field or something. Then have their own different effects, just upgraded versions. I mean, you know, you'd have some extra burn damage, like I said with some being able to return monsters and different things too. I think it could be fine-tuned a little bit. With this, again, you're dealing with like 5 cards, so I couldn't really give you ideas, I feel like, on all 5 on that. Again, there's smarter people out there, I feel like, that come out with something. But Don Zalug, like, coming back, let's say, like, maybe it'd even be funny if they're all older. Like, you know, they've been out of the game for a while, and they've been brought back, you know, into the game. I think that would be interesting, you know, or something. Or maybe it's the next generation, their kids or something. That would be really cool, because, again, we don't see artworks and themes like this anymore, I feel like, and I would love to see an older one like this that I really remember, and again, that are still pretty decent cards. They do well in speed duels and GOAT formats. It could be a lot of fun to see, so I would just love to be able to see Don Zalug upgraded and out there again in today's game. The next card we're going to talk about is one that I feel like is always forgotten by everyone. Even his set has been forgotten by a lot of people, and that is Spirit of the Pharaoh. This is kind of one of those cards I feel like people have seen, but they're like, what does he even do again? What's this card about? You know, like, they can never say it, but they're like, yeah, okay, I feel like I have that in my, you know, deep in my mind that I remember that card. Yeah. And that's a shame, too, because his artwork is probably one of the best artworks in the game. In my opinion on it, I would say he's at least in my top 3 in terms of artworks, because, seriously, looks sick. And I always liked the idea of bringing this guy out, too. He had some really interesting ideas. The setback was you had to have the 3 different sarcophagus cards to bring him out. The first one, I believe, was like the trap card. Then you had the 2 spells, and you had to get them all set up, and it would take you a few turns to do that, bring him out. But then one of his other cool effects is that he could also have some zombies that were weaker than him. And, yeah, you could actually power him up and all, too, with them. And I think that'd be kind of interesting. They're like his guards. They would help protect him, but they would also be stronger, and he'd become even stronger and stuff as well. I'd love to see that brought back. And honestly, too, the other day, I saw someone using him because he did get a speed duel card, and that deck was pretty scary. So I feel like there's a little bit of thought about this card out there. Anyway, how would I make this one work now? I think basically you probably just need 1 spell card to bring him out now or something. Almost like a ritual summon in some ways. Maybe make it so you have to get rid of some low-level zombies, let's say, and then bring him out. Again, maybe you could even make him a ritual monster. I'm not really sure exactly on that. He can't be targeted by stuff as long as you have weaker zombies. But also, too, they get a power boost for each, like, of the weaker zombies on there. Let's say you have some of them, like it was like the Guardian and different things that they had. You could probably have to redo them, too, on that. And make it so that, you know, maybe they start off with like 1,000 attack, something. I think that's still an upgrade versus what they had. And make them a little bit stronger, a little bit of a power boost, the more of them you have. So it's kind of like you're fighting in like a horde, and also, too, the Pharaoh has his army. So I kind of like those 2 ideas put together on it, which is kind of what he originally had anyway, but, you know, upgraded on that. Again, though, you'd have to make it so it's just 1 sarcophagus, and probably not just staying on the field, too, because, yeah, that could be destroyed so easily. That was his big weakness back in the day. You try to build up for him, and then one of your pieces get destroyed, you're like, well, so next game, huh? You know, I mean, that's honestly what happened. So, yeah, I find him really interesting, and again, that artwork, too, is sick. So, I would love to see a retrain. And then, last but not least, the monster that made me even want to do this video and gave me the idea for it is Dark Sage. Dark Sage is just one of those awesome looking Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Again, one of like the best artworks. Such a cool idea anyway, where it was Dark Magician, then got hit by the Time Wizard effect, and then aged up into Dark Sage. Like, I thought it was a really cool idea. And then even later on, like in the movie stuff, going back to like Pyramid of Light, we had like Sorcerer Dark Magic and everything. We've always had like these upgrades. Endymion, I feel like the original one was kind of like an upgrade to the original Dark Magician, but none of them have been Dark Sage. You know, I would love the idea of Dark Magician getting older and wiser and stronger, you know, because he's so powerful anyway. We've seen all the many cards he has. A real upgrade sounds awesome. It's Gandalf, basically, you know, too, by that point. He's so much smarter and older. This is one that still really surprised me we hadn't had a new version of, and I feel like it has to be on the way. What I would do, instead of the whole Time Wizard thing, I would just make it so you have to sacrifice a Dark Magician on your side of the field to then bring him out. He's an upgraded one, so he still has, you know, his stronger attack, all that kind of stuff from it. But then also I don't think it would hurt to give him his original effect, where basically when he's summoned, you can just get one of your spell cards and bring it back. Especially with something like Dark Magician, bringing like a Dark Magic Circle back or something like that too, could be really cool. Or you could even change it where it has to be a Dark Magician card that you could just revive. Could be a little bit stronger and scarier, but I would like to see that too. But the spell idea I really like because, again, he's a smarter mage, he's a smarter magician, he's a sage now. But yeah, just seeing kind of a true upgrade to Dark Magician, I think would be really cool. Even if we also did one for Blue Eyes too, I'd be okay with that. But I feel like Dark Magician getting a new Dark Sage is something that would be really cool. And honestly, seeing an iconic monster like that actually being able to come back and be useful could be pretty awesome. And there you go. Those are the cards that I think should be brought back and remade. What do you guys think about this list? You love it? You hate it? Let me know down in those comments below. It's kind of an older video idea too, but it's one I wanted to bring back because it sounded fun. And like I said too, these monsters, just all of them, I think would be really cool to see brought back. So let me know what you guys think, or if there's any you would add to this list or take away or anything like that. I would love to know. And yeah, be sure to check out Into the AM. Like I said, I wore all different shirts throughout the video. They're all comfortable, soft, look great, and I love them. I'm definitely going to be wearing these a ton. So yeah, check them out, link down in the description, and you will save that 10% off. Thank you guys for watching, and of course I will catch you guys later. See ya.